Penguin Random House Audio presents The 80-80 Marriage, a new model for a happier, stronger relationship. By Nate Klemp, Ph.D., and Kaley Klemp. Read for you by Roger Wayne. Publisher's note. This audiobook contains a bonus PDF of charts and exercises. To Margie, Joe, Judy, and Jim, our models of love. Introduction. It all started with a pair of smelly running shoes. When we first moved in together at the age of 24, Nate used to leave his running shoes piled up by the front door. Each day, he'd casually walk into the condo and kick them off, sending them flying across the floor to land randomly in a clump near the doormat. One day, after a week of living together, Nate went to grab his shoes, but they were gone. He searched the closets, the garage, the porch, and the garbage can. No luck. "Have you seen my shoes?" he asked Kaley. "I told you it drives me crazy when I walk into the house and trip over them. I feel like you're maid, and that's not fair. So now you're going to have to find them," she said. Annoyed by this game of hide-and-seek, Nate continued his search. 20 minutes later, after rummaging through the entire condo, he found them tucked away on the top shelf of the kitchen cabinets, those high-up shelves above the refrigerator ordinarily reserved for useless appliances. Now Nate was pissed. He charged into Kaley's office. "Are you serious? I just spent 20 minutes trying to find my shoes." Kaley swung around in her office chair. "I told you, it drives me nuts when you don't put your shoes away, and it's not my job to put away your crap." 1 week in, and the fight for fairness, the fight over who's doing more and who's doing less, who cares more and who cares less, had begun. From shoe drama to in-law drama. As the years passed, Nate learned to put away his shoes, but soon new and more complex conflicts emerged. After getting married at the age of 26, we would travel home during every holiday season to spend time with both sets of parents in Colorado. To make things fair, we brokered a time-sharing deal that seemed like a stroke of genius. Nate's parents got Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Kaley's parents got the 3 to 4 days after Christmas. Since Nate's family got the 2 holidays, Kaley's family got the next 2 days plus a you-missed-the-real-holiday bonus day or 2 for not getting Christmas. The deal seemed perfectly fair. Quid pro quo. There was only one problem with this bargain. It left open the question of the exact down-to-the-minute time we left Nate's family's house on Christmas night. From an outsider's perspective, it seemed so trivial. Who cares whether you leave at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m.? But one Christmas morning, the question turned nuclear. "I'd really like to be in the car by 6 so that we make it to my family's house before everybody goes to sleep," Kaley said. "Babe, Christmas dinner isn't over until at least 7. I don't want to rush out of there while everyone's sitting at the dinner table," Nate replied. That's when fairness crept into the conversation. "We're spending Christmas Eve and all of Christmas Day with your family. I'm just asking to leave a few minutes early so we can at least say hi to my family on Christmas," Kaley protested. "Yeah, but we're spending 2 extra days at your parents' house," Nate replied. And on it went. Each year we dreaded that fateful hour of transition. Each year we fought the same battle, which boiled down to this: what you're asking for isn't fair. The fight that almost ended it all. 6 years into our marriage, things got even more complicated. We had a baby girl, and suddenly we weren't just bickering over the mundane tasks of domestic life and extended family logistics. Now the entire structure of our lives, from our finances to our work ethic to our careers to what we did during our increasingly rare free time, was up for grabs. We soon discovered that we had no clue how to answer some of the most basic questions in married life. Who pays the credit card bill? Who cooks dinner? Who books airplane tickets when we travel? Who schedules our daughter's dentist appointments? Who takes care of her when she's sick? And who picks her up from daycare? That last question almost ended our marriage. One warm September night, while we were sitting in the garden-lined patio of a local Mediterranean restaurant, Kaley asked Nate, can you do pickups at 3:30 a few times a week this fall? But that's not what Nate heard. He interpreted the question as something more like, since you're a writer who doesn't have a real job, can you end your workday early to get our daughter? Nate reacted by launching into a rant about not being respected. Kaley fired back with all the reasons she felt unappreciated. Then there were several digs about Kaley traveling too much and a few more about Nate not caring enough. That's when we lost it. It reached a point where the whole thing felt so unfair, so insane, that Nate dropped all remaining traces of his ordinarily zen persona and blurted, "I don't care what you think. I'm not changing the way I live my life." With that, Kaley left the table to cry in the bathroom. And 1 day later, we could barely talk to each other. 1 week later, the rage and resentment still lingered. It would take the better part of a year to clear away the emotional wreckage created by this fight. Over what? A daycare pickup time? Looking back, it's now clear. This fight had nothing to do with picking up our daughter. It was about something deeper. Fairness. This fairness fight almost ended our marriage. But it's also the fight that led us to change it. The battle for fairness. How about you? While the details might not be the same, have you and your partner fallen into this trap? How much time and energy gets sucked away by conflicts over what is or isn't fair, over who's doing more and who's doing less, who cares more and who cares less? How often do you fight about things like a daycare pickup time, whose friends you're spending Saturday night with, a purchase that seems extravagant, or a forgotten run to the store to get more eggs? In the aftermath of our daycare pickup fight, we wondered if we were the only ones struggling to find a way out of this battle, or whether this pattern was something more universal, a challenge faced by all modern couples. We had to ask because when we looked on Facebook and Instagram, it seemed like we were all alone, lost in the woods of marital dysfunction. We didn't see anyone else talking about their struggles. All we saw were glorious photos of couples on vacation, lounging alongside an infinity pool, cocktails in hand, having the time of their lives. We read dazzling anniversary posts in which one partner would publicly declare their unshakable love for the other, garnering hundreds of likes and "You guys are amazing" comments. Posts like these made us wonder, are we the only ones having trouble figuring this thing out? Is everyone else off backpacking in Montana, having tons of sex and living happily ever after? To answer these questions, we decided to turn from social media to real conversations. We conducted formal interviews with more than 100 people from all walks of life. We talked to couples who seemed to have the perfect marriage, couples struggling to save their marriage, couples who had recently divorced, and couples who chose not to marry. We talked to artists, academics, teachers, scientists, stay-at-home parents, CEOs and corporate executives, progressives, conservatives, Christians, atheists, heterosexual couples, same-sex couples, and one set of nomads on a 7-year honeymoon, living out of a van. In the end, it didn't matter what they did in their career, how much money they had, or whom they voted for. The more we looked beneath all those glossy posts on social media, the more we witnessed, both in ourselves and in others, an insight that changed everything. Everyone seems a little bit lost when it comes to making marriage work. Everyone seems to be searching for a better model, any model really, for being equals and managing the chaos of modern life, all while staying in love. We also discovered that most modern couples grapple with a similar list of challenges. Almost everyone we spoke with reported living in a constant state of busyness, a harried feeling of never having enough time. One woman told us, "I go through life just wishing someone would give me an hour." Another told us, "I'm used to getting an A+ in life, but I'm so spread thin right now that everyone in my life, my husband, my kids, my employees, gets a C or a C- from me." They also reported feeling overwhelmed, confused, and exhausted by the demands of balancing marriage with parenting, caring for aging parents, and advancing in their career. One man told us, "With all that's going on, I get to Monday at the end of the weekend, and I'm never refreshed. Not at all." One woman told us, "It's impossible. I have no solutions. Balancing all of this is the hardest part of my life.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?